Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome to a bit of a different topic on the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my overarching issues with Call of Duty that I have. And I know in the past live streams and some videos on my channel, I've been critical of Modern Warfare and things that I see wrong with the game that kind of differentiate itself from the base Call of Duty formula, if you will. Now, to give context on what type of Call of Duty player I am, so you guys know what boat I'm in, I like a Call of Duty where it has lots of game modes that are fun and different from each other. I like a good progression system, whether it be prestigious or prestige master mode. I do not like Modern Warfare's progression mode just because the levels reset every season and really they don't mean anything. It's just whether or not you complete the ribbon challenges, which you can complete within 7 hours of game time anyway. But I like a good progression system for mastery camos, which I will give Modern Warfare props. Damascus is the most enjoyable mastery camo grind I've done, just because of how much effort it took. And I know that kind of sounds a little odd because a lot of people don't like the Damascus grind, but I enjoyed the Damascus grind because it actually gave me something to do in the game and grind. Looking back at older Call of Duties, World War II, Black Ops 4, they had really good prestige systems in all modes, whether it be Blackout, multiplayer, zombies. Their multiplayer progression systems were really good with prestiges. Same with zombies with prestiges. It gave us something to grind towards. Campaign was fun in World War II. I know Black Ops 4 didn't really have a campaign, but you had lots of calling card challenges in each game to work towards a mastery calling card if you wanted to show off that you've completed a certain amount of challenges with a certain, I don't know, weapon category or equipment or perks or something like that. You could do that and then kind of flex those calling cards, which I love working towards. Usually in Call of Duties, you'll see that my calling cards are calling cards that you get rewarded for achieving some of the hardest challenges in the game. And Modern Warfare lacks that as well because, I mean, the Mighty Mushroom calling card is the only really calling card that shows the length you're willing to go in the game. And even then, it's just a tactical nuke, which people get daily in the game. Talking about Call of Duty as a whole now, I find that I'm not having as much fun playing it as I used to. Now, this could be a personal thing with me getting older and my tastes in games changing, or me just not enjoying the Call of Duty formula anymore. I'll admit it, I'm a COD fanboy and I love Call of Duty. I want Call of Duty to succeed because I enjoy playing the games. I always have. Nostalgia has a huge effect on that opinion for me. I think all of us as Call of Duty players want Call of Duty to succeed as well, because if they succeed, that means we get a better product and a more enjoyable game. And looking at older Call of Duties that even now that I play, like I'll go back and play Black Ops 4 Zombies, I'll go play World War II multiplayer, I'll play Modern Warfare Mastered multiplayer, I will play all the PS3, Xbox 360 CODs multiplayer, so like Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. And I think I'm not enjoying those games because it's more of just a nostalgia trip rather than trying to grind something. But even in the past few CODs, so Modern Warfare, we haven't really had a huge grind factor. So this kind of ties in with my video that I last made about Black Ops 5 and what I want to see. In Call of Duty in general, I want to see a fun progression system for any game mode and diversity in how the game modes feel. Now, what I mean by that is in Modern Warfare, whether you're playing Kill Confirmed, Search and Destroy, Infected, Spec Ops, Campaign, it all feels very homogenous, and it doesn't really, you don't have that differentiation between game modes. Now, the feel of how you play the game and how you progress through a level or how you progress through a match against enemy players is different, but it all feels the same. And I know Infinity Ward's goal with Modern Warfare was to make the Modern Warfare universe feel very gelled together and homogenous, and they succeeded by that. But I think in my personal taste, I like a Call of Duty with a lot of different stuff and different feels, which is why Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 have been some of my favorite Call of Duties in the most recent years on the current gen consoles. Because Black Ops 4 Zombies felt completely different from Blackout, which felt completely different from multiplayer. All three game modes felt completely different. Black Ops 3, you had Nightmares, which felt completely different from Campaign. Campaign felt completely different from multiplayer. Dead Ops Arcade felt completely different from Zombies, and Nightmares also felt completely different from Zombies. So regardless of what game mode you were playing within the game, you always had a refreshing game to play. So if you got bored of zombies, you could go play any other mini game mode or major game mode that Treyarch brought with Black Ops 3. And even comparing Modern Warfare to Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare 2, yes, Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2's Spec Ops did feel somewhat similar to the multiplayer and campaign, but in my perspective, there is enough differentiation between Spec Ops and multiplayer where the Spec Ops experience felt completely different from the multiplayer experience. And same thing with Modern Warfare 2 and the campaign and multiplayer and Spec Ops there. And I think DLC has a huge part to do with this as well, because the DLC in Modern Warfare 3 was very unique and very creative. Same with Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2. The DLC maps felt completely different from the game. And if you look at DLC maps in Modern Warfare, the maps feel very Modern Warfare style. They're not trying to get too creative with the DLC maps. They're trying to keep it super grounded, which for an arcade shooter doesn't seem like a very good business plan. Now, Battlefield as a game, I can see their DLCs wanting to be as similar to the base game as possible. That's because that's what Battlefield is known for. Battlefield is known for being a more realistic shooter than Call of Duty. Call of Duty is an arcade shooter, which is why usually DLC maps are very vibrant and different from the base game. Look at all the cool maps that World War II had. It had a map where you were running around as toy soldiers in a sandbox. That was very cool and interesting. And even though it didn't feel like you were on the front lines of World War II, the game was very fun and enjoyable. Look at Black Ops 3. You had that picnic map where you were the bugs and ants walking around on the picnic table were bigger than you, and you were running around and jumping around with your exosuits through beer cases and through piles of food and running through straws that acted like tunnels. That was very enjoyable to me. And I think with Modern Warfare and even Black Ops 4 in a sense, because Black Ops 4 as a universe wasn't really developed that well. It was more just like an all-star game of all the Black Ops games. They're like, hey, let's take all the best things from the old games and compile it into one, because what we were developing got canceled and we had to kind of deal with what we had available to us, which I understand to some extent. But I feel like Call of Duty needs to go back to their older formula with making DLCs fun and exciting. And when I say older formula, I don't mean like you have to go way, way back. There's tons of maps in Infinite Warfare's DLC, World War II's DLC. Some of the Black Ops 4 DLC maps even were fun and interesting. And I feel like Modern Warfare trying to be hyper-realistic for a Call of Duty just isn't working out. I'm not enjoying the game as much, and I know a lot of people that I'm friends with aren't enjoying the game as much. Skill-based matchmaking, of course, doesn't really have a place in Call of Duty. It never really has, and I don't think it ever really will. However, I think we're going to have to learn and adapt to accept that skill-based matchmaking is going to be a thing in Call of Duty and future Call of Duty games, just because that's how gaming is going in general right now. Skill-based matchmaking isn't just being introduced in COD, it's being introduced in most AAA games that have multiplayers. I know I made a video on Black Ops 5 and what I want to see in it, but just in future Call of Duties, I want to see a good progression system, unique DLC, diversity within the game, whether that be different game modes, different feels of game modes. I just want something creative again. I feel like, I don't know if it's an Activision decision or the studio head's decision or the developer's decision, but I feel like the games are playing it very safe. And I don't mean like keeping it PG and trying to keep the campaigns cartoony and stuff like that. I mean they're not taking the risks that the older Call of Duties used to take, whether that being introducing a radically different game mode like the Extinction mode in Call of Duty Ghosts, or just a radically different multiplayer mode that changes up the multiplayer formula and gives players a different way to play the game. My fear with Warzone coming out is that it's going to be super homogenous compared to every mode in the game, and it's going to feel no different from Ground War or just any multiplayer mode, to be honest. Blackout felt completely different from Black Ops 4. Blackout could have been its own game with how it played and how it felt compared to the rest of the stuff in Black Ops 4, and that's what I want to see in future Call of Duties. And I know this video kind of got off topic, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Episode 5 of the Clubhouse cast, I'm definitely going to explore this more in depth with you guys on stream and talk a little bit more about what Call of Duty needs to do to change and the issues with Call of Duty as a whole. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this ramble of a video. My goal with this video was to spark your imagination and kind of get you thinking on what you guys enjoy in Call of Duty as well. And if you have made it this far in the video, Let me know what you like and what you don't like in Call of Duties and what you guys want to see in the future, because I'm going to be taking a couple of these comments into episode 5 next weekend of the Clubhouse Cast. If you guys are interested, I'm just going to plug some stuff right now. Episode 4 of the Clubhouse Cast goes out tomorrow. We have on Sunday, March 8th, the $120 Michael Myers Tournament 2. So it's the second tournament, as well as there's going to be the Discord link in the description, as well as some social media links. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy, dislike if you didn't. I'm about to head out, and if there is one, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.